This electric military buggy drives itself, fires a machine gun remotely, and launches its own drone, all without a single soldier exposed. The battlefield just got quieter and significantly more dangerous. Meet the Nikola Reckless, an all-electric, lightweight tactical vehicle built specifically for modern military operations, and it does things that would have sounded like science fiction 10 years ago. Let's start with the weapon system. A remote-controlled turret armed with a 7.62mm machine. Gun sits on top. Soldiers engage targets from inside the vehicle, fully protected, zero exposure. The gun does the work while the crew stays behind armor. Then there's the drone. The Reckless carries its own reconnaissance and surveillance drone, deployable, directly from the vehicle. Eyes in the sky launched from the ground in seconds. See the threat before the threat sees you, and then it gets genuinely impressive. Self-driving technology lets the Reckless navigate difficult terrain completely autonomously. Send it forward without sending a soldier forward. Scout the route, deliver supplies, draw attention, all without a single person inside. Russia built a tank where the crew hides in an armored box and the gun fires itself. But nobody has seen it actually fight yet. The T-14 Armata. Russia's most ambitious armor project in decades, and a design so radical it genuinely changed how military engineers around the world think about what a tank can be. Here is what makes it unlike anything else. The turret has no crew inside it. Zero. Empty, fully remote controlled. All three crew members, commander, gunner, driver, sit, sealed inside a heavily armored capsule at the front of the hull, completely separated from the gun, completely separated from the ammunition. If the turret takes a direct hit, the crew survives. That single design decision alone is revolutionary. The 125mm smoothbore cannon fires conventional rounds and guided missiles. Explosive reactive armor covers the exterior. An active protection system detects and intercepts incoming projectiles before they reach the hull. Someone took the world's most reliable off-road vehicle and turned it into an armored personnel carrier that holds 8 soldiers and mounts a grenade launcher. The Toyota Land Cruiser 79 is already legendary. Militaries trust it. Aid organizations depend on it. Extreme terrain enthusiasts swear by it. And then someone asked, what if it was also bulletproof? Meet the Tigor, an armored personnel carrier built directly on the Toyota Land Cruiser 79 platform, taking one of the most proven off-road foundations ever made and wrapping it in serious military protection. The result is something that combines battlefield survivability with the mechanical reliability that Land Cruiser owners already know is essentially unbreakable. The armored body handles ballistic threats. Reinforced glass keeps the crew protected without sacrificing visibility, and mine-resistant underbelly absorbs blast energy from below, the threat that ends most unprotected vehicles instantly. The U.S. Army just built a combat robot with no crew, carries weapons equal to its own weight, and fights completely on its own. Nobody drives this. Nobody sits inside it. Nobody pulls the trigger manually. Nobody puts their life on the line to operate. It, the TRX, just goes. Built by General Dynamics Land Systems for the U.S. Army's Robotic Combat Vehicle program. This is what the future of ground warfare actually looks like. Not a concept. Not a prototype gathering dust in a lab. A real combat robot being developed right now. The TRX runs a hybrid electric powertrain that powers the vehicle and exports energy to every weapon system and sensor module it carries. And it carries a lot. Payload equal to its own weight. Weapons, sensors, electronic warfare systems, resupply equipment, swap the mission module, and the TRX becomes a completely different machine in a completely different role. Reconnaissance, direct, fire support, counter-drone operations, obstacle breaching, autonomous resupply runs. This military buggy fits inside a helicopter, carries special forces troops, and goes anywhere on Earth. And it's already deployed right now. Special operations don't wait for roads. They don't wait for infrastructure. They don't wait for anything, and neither does the Polaris MRZR Alpha. This is a compact tactical vehicle built specifically for the most demanding military missions on Earth, designed by Polaris Government and Defense, used by special operations forces who need to move fast, hit hard, and disappear before anyone knows they were there. Small enough to fit inside a helicopter, small enough to load into an aircraft and drop into a remote location in hours. But don't let the size fool you. The MRZR Alpha carries multiple soldiers and heavy equipment across terrain that stops larger vehicles cold. Desert, mountains, dense jungle, mud that swallows conventional trucks. It keeps moving. A turbo diesel engine paired with an advanced transmission handles the power. High ground clearance and a purpose-built suspension system tackle obstacles that would end the mission for anything bigger and heavier. This armored vehicle survives IED blasts, fits in city streets, and gets used by militaries and police forces worldwide. And most people have never heard of it. Not every battlefield looks like a war zone. Some of them look like city streets, and that is exactly where the Sandcat was built to operate. This is the Plassen Sandcat, a compact multi-mission armored vehicle designed for the missions that fall between full military combat and everyday policing. The dangerous middle ground where the threat is real but the environment is tight. The armor handles ballistic rounds, explosions, IEDs, the vehicle that drives over a bomb and keeps going. But here's what separates the Sandcat from heavier armored platforms. It's compact, agile, urban-friendly, narrow enough for city streets, tough enough for off-road terrain, fast enough to respond before the situation escalates further. The modular design means the same vehicle becomes a troop transport one day and a special operations platform the next. This tiny French tank from the 1930s was so useful that the enemy captured it and kept using it themselves. Size doesn't always win wars. Sometimes the smallest machine on the battlefield is the most important one. Meet the Renault UE, a compact tracked carrier built in France in the early 1930s. Small enough to look almost harmless, practical enough to become one of the most widely used military vehicles of its entire era. 2 crew members, just a few meters long, and it went everywhere the big vehicles couldn't. Rough terrain, narrow passages, muddy ground that swallowed larger trucks whole. The Renault UE kept moving through all of it, carrying ammunition to frontline troops, towing small weapons, pushing supplies forward when everything else got stuck. It wasn't glamorous work, but without it, the infantry stopped fighting. Thousands were produced across France, and when World War II arrived, the Renault UE proved something remarkable. The enemy captured them and kept using them. When opposing forces overran French positions, they didn't abandon these little machines. They repurposed them, put them straight, back to work in different roles under a different flag. That is the highest possible compliment a military vehicle can ever receive. Israel built an armored vehicle so compact it goes anywhere, but still carries thermal cameras, remote weapons, and stops bullets cold. Small doesn't mean vulnerable. Israel proved that a long time ago, and the Yagu is the latest proof. Built by Plassen, the same company that armors vehicles trusted by militaries across the world. The Yagu is a lightweight armored vehicle designed for one specific purpose: get there fast, stay protected, complete the mission. Despite its compact footprint, the Yagu carries serious ballistic protection, the kind that handles real threats in real environments, not test range conditions, military operations, law enforcement, border patrol, high-risk urban missions where size matters as much as survivability. The surveillance package is where it gets impressive. Thermal imaging sees through darkness and smoke. Remote-controlled weaponry engages threats without exposing a single crew. Germany built a military vehicle so small it folds flat, fits inside a helicopter, and still carries 7 soldiers into combat. Germany looked at the problem of getting troops into impossible places and built something that looks like it belongs, on a farm. Meet the Von Krake 640, a compact foldable military vehicle that served Germany's airborne and mountain troops from the 1970s all the way through the 1990s. Nicknamed the Powered Cart, and every bit as clever as that humble name suggests. Here's the genius of it. The entire frame folds flat. Loaded into a helicopter, Drop it into a mountain valley. Unfold it. Drive away. Minutes, not hours. A 26-horsepower BMW two-cylinder engine, the kind of modest power unit you'd expect in agricultural machinery, pushed it to 60 kilometers per hour, carrying 7 soldiers or 750 kilograms of cargo. But transport was just the beginning. The Kraka 6040 could be fitted with recoilless rifles, anti-tank guided missiles, or automatic cannons. India just built its own armored vehicle, and the military ordered over 1,300 of them before it even finished testing. For decades, India equipped its forces with foreign armor. That chapter is closing. Meet the Mahindra Armado, India's own indigenous armored light specialist vehicle. Built by Mahindra for the Indian Armed Forces, and already ordered in numbers that tell you everything you need to know about how seriously the military takes it. Over 2,300 units before full production even began. The Armado runs a 3.2-liter multi-fuel diesel engine producing 215 horsepower and 500 newton-meters of torque through an automatic transmission. Top speed hits 120 kilometers per hour. 0 to 60 in 12 seconds. Range stretches 400 kilometers on a single tank. Fast enough to chase. Tough enough to take a hit. Stanig Level 2 ballistic protection handles bullets and grenade fragments. The kind of protection that keeps soldiers alive in the exact environments the Armado is designed for. Counter-terrorism operations, reconnaissance, missions, high-threat border zones.